No one wants to spend Christmas here. No one really wants to be here ever.
It takes a special person to spend Christmas at the hospital by choice.
It's my favorite part of Christmas. I did not wear an elf hat last year, no. Definitely not.
Kathleen Vermillion is one of Santa's helpers. Trying to bring a Merry Christmas to the children whose holiday will be spent in a hospital bed.
It's just fun, and the kids are so happy.
Mason!
And they're just so happy when Santa Claus comes in.
On Christmas morning, Santa made his rounds.
Can you say ho, ho, ho?
Ho, ho, ho.
Bringing gifts
Merry Christmas, Anna.
and smiles to some of the hospital's smallest patients.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Jolly old St. Nick may have been just doing his job.
I'm here specially to make a delivery.
But when your 5-year-old has stared down death, it means that much more.
He was one sick little guy, and we didn't know that we'd actually be making it to this point.
Aaron Heary's respiratory problems were compounded by pneumonia.
We were pretty much told to prepare ourselves that our son was not well enough and he was most likely not going to make it through the night.
After being moved to pediatric intensive care, Aaron's condition improved. Then came Santa.
It's a big dinosaur racetrack, Dad.
You have no idea just how much that means.
To have, my family be on the receiving end of that just really means a lot to us.
For the Hearys, Aaron's emergency was just the latest thing to go wrong.
We got burglarized on a Friday. He was hospitalized Sunday.
And to top it off, Andrea lost her job just before Christmas.
So it's been a really rough season, but his health and happiness, all of my kids' health and happiness is leaps and bounds more important to me.
It turns out Santa's visit to the Hearys wasn't their only present this Christmas Day.
We got the most special gift of all, right here. Right? Oh, come on. Silly boy.
After a week of tubes, tests, and hospital food, Aaron could go home. The best Christmas gift of all.
As it stands right now, we're going to go home and enjoy the holidays with our family and relax and take a deep breath and say, oh, we're here and we're all together and life is good.
Seth Voorhees, Our News.
I just wanted to be out here first thing this morning.
Before the sun could melt the frost, John King was deep in thought.
Dear God, please watch over our veterans and our soldiers. My son.
His 20-year-old son Patrick is serving overseas in Japan.
He's doing great, and he loves it. He's very, very proud to serve his country, and I'm very proud of him.
These are service members, yeah.
Army Sergeant C.J. Gifford felt blessed to bring his son with him on his walk through the Vietnam Veterans Memorial.
Just brought him here to show him that freedom's not free, that it costs a lot.
A difficult lesson to comprehend.
Oh, shelters.
Yeah, see?
What him doing? Him die? Oh.
Yeah.
At any age.
It's just not fair. I mean, it's all young kids that went off to war. And all these kids, they didn't come back.
The journey through the memorial is personal.
I got a lot of friends and relatives that are on these posts here.
It touches each person who passes differently.
I don't know how to put it. It's so scary. But on the other hand, it's there's so much pride.
All these words don't mean nothing to a child, but that statue
speaks volumes.
It's nice to have a place you can come to and just kind of think about what you never forget it, but it's nice to remember
Whether it drew them to reflect, to pray, or to teach, each knew that at a memorial as powerfully quiet as this, they would hear the true meaning of Veterans Day.
God bless America. God bless our troops. Thank you.
Leah George, Our News.
To a lot of people it sounds like, it sounds complicated and busy, but then the more you learn about it, the more it just sounds creative, I guess.
Adrian DiMatteo will tell you his first love is blues, but the 16-year-old has quite an affair going with jazz.
Every day jazz feels better to play the more I learn about it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
I think he's promising on a number of fronts. I think he's promising as a, blues, rock, solo artist, as a composer in that genre, and I think he's also incredibly gifted for jazz, too.
Adrian studies jazz guitar at the Eastman School of Music. He does it thanks to a program called Pathways. For nearly a decade, it's provided scholarships to promising musicians in the Rochester City School District. Adrian is a student at the School of the Arts.
I was very impressed with the fact that he told me he's a creative writing major. So I thought that was really cool. So I guess this music thing's a hobby, but he's doing pretty well with it.
More than pretty well, Adrian played his way to the top tier of a national guitar competition.
I got knocked out when there were like 16 people left in the country, I guess.
The one thing that Adrian didn't mention about the competitions was that he wasn't competing against kids his own age. He was competing against adults.
But I guess there's still a chance I could go on, I'm not sure yet. But the grand finals are in Chicago, so that would be exciting, I guess.
Adrian will get his chance. Chicago came calling just hours after our interview. He is one of 6 finalists. Besides competing, Adrian will also get to meet blues legend B.B. King. Then he'll just see where the music takes him.
Good job, good job.
Kate Welshofer, Our News.
All units respond to Nazareth College, Porco Hall. It's in the rear of the complex.
A bomb has gone off at Nazareth College.
Will the floor collapse?
Dozens of students are trapped inside.
We've got victims at the roof.
No one knows what kind of bomb went off.
And we don't have any idea how this explosion started.
This is a weapons of mass destruction drill. Firefighters, EMS crews, sheriff's deputies, and even Nazareth security officers were here to train.
But something of this scale with this many patients is something we don't see very often. It's just kind of the whole logistical approach of how to transport patients, how to remove victims from the building, water supply, all sorts of things we can definitely critique and talk about.
Command ordering an evacuation of the building at Porco Hall. All units are to evacuate the building.
Set it down and let's go.
All these emergency responders are not only training on how to respond to a mass casualty incident, but an incident that's taking place post 9/11.
We are trained to size up a situation, attack it aggressively, save lives, move out, clean up, and move home. In the world of terrorism that we're living in today, it's about stepping back, sizing a situation up, seeing if potential nuclear, biological, or chemical agents might have been involved in this incident, and that changes our whole approach to the scene.
Henry says today they work hard to minimize risk to emergency responders and call in more diverse crews. And some of those crews will, of course, include the first on scene.
We can save a number of minutes in between actually beginning an investigation and finding out preliminarily what's going on and being able to actually let the incoming units know what's going on.
Everyone out of the building, all students out of the building.
These postal workers are on a last-minute Christmas mission.
It's our express mail service, yeah, it's our overnight service. Basically, it's stuff that was mailed yesterday that a customer wants to try to get delivered today, Christmas Day.
Letter carriers like Mike Figler have mixed feelings about loading trucks and making deliveries on Christmas.
I'd rather be home with the family, but people need to get their packages, so I'm the man to do it.
number of packages carriers like Mike deliver on Christmas has gone down steadily over the past few years. Instead of delivering 500 to 600 packages, they're down to about 130.
Merry Christmas. How are you today? It looks like folks are, paying attention and are getting their mail into the system.
But some still wait till the last minute, and Mike says it's what he could be delivering that makes the day worth working.
Some people might be waiting for that one package that makes their day.
Package for Chris Clark?
That's me.
All right.
I'm astonished that they've come out today. I had no idea anybody would make a delivery on Christmas Day.
Map 38. Oh, there it is, Ashbourne up here.
With fewer packages to deliver than in previous years, Mike too may finish work a little early and start enjoying the presents Santa delivered the night before.
Going home and playing with my son with his new toys and having a nice dinner with my family.
Leah George.
And very Merry Christmas. Take care now.
Our News.
Today is the 23rd annual Ronald McDonald High School Exceptional Senior Game.
It raises money for the Ronald McDonald House in Rochester.
There are 64 players of basketball representing seniors who are the very best in all of Section 5.
Nicole Jones and Rachel Knaus, tip off.
Well, number 23 is special
My name is Rachel Knaus.
because she's survived cancer.
June of 2006, I was diagnosed with cancer. When I was diagnosed, it was super shocking because I felt fine. Through chemotherapy and surgery, it was really tough, but I had two of my close friends.
She's a big inspiration to us, she's like a hero to us.
My family.
She's got a lot of courage.
After my treatments, I really wanted to play basketball.
She was very determined to play. I think it was very important to her. Rachel's a pretty determined girl.
She really wanted to beat it so she could go out on the floor and play her senior year. And
I was determined to play, and I wasn't gonna miss another season of something I loved.
She's a brave girl, and she knew she wanted to play basketball, and that was what she strived to do.
She just wanted to prove to everybody that beating cancer and being able to play basketball is one of the biggest things she wanted to accomplish, which she did.
There are so many stories about people who have had cancer who just sit down on the couch and that's it forever. But she's one of the few who met it square on, fought it, and won it.
So you don't have to let something like cancer control your life, and you can continue enjoying something you do if you really love it that much.
Get packets per second. We need to find that IP of the scoring engine and then get that to me.
Senior Ron Valenti's RIT team spent this weekend working as real system administrators.
This guy here, Jason, this needs a report.
Setting up projects like corporate email accounts.
It's definitely very stressful to deal with that, especially in a competition setting.
6 college teams compete for one spot at the national competition in April.
Which one were you on, 172.33?
What's the IP on the HTTP box?
Page cannot be found. They probably patched it.
If these technical terms make the job seem hard enough, meet Don Lancet.
The thing is, though, a Windows 2003 domain is not going to let them set that the password to just the word orange.
I'm a bad guy, yeah. I'm a good bad guy, I guess you could say.
Lancet's red team is made up of industry professionals.
I'm getting hit on FTP by an external address.
Saturday, the red team hacked its way into the competition.
They're going to DOS that. That's just going to go down. They're all showing up in time-weight state.
I don't get to do this in the real world, people, without getting very upset.
When a service goes down, I consider that an attack.
With nearly a 9-hour workday, these attackers, and budget limitations from a mock CIO, the students also got a taste of the real world.
You never really understand how important it really is until you see how easy it is to get exploited.
Technology's intricate ins and outs don't scare these guys. It only motivates.
I think it's a really great opportunity for them to see what can happen outside in the real world.
Yeah, there you go.
When we go out in the real world, hopefully we'll be making your banks safer, making ID theft, less prominent.
Banyan Lee, Our News.
John Van Kerkhoff making his way to the finish line. Congratulations, John.
They're a common sight just past the finish line of any long foot race.
Thanks, good job.
Hot and exhausted runners dousing themselves with water and icing down their aching muscles. But today's Preferred Care Rochester Marathon had more than its share of unusual sights in the recovery area. Stretchers, IVs, a full-body ice bath, and several ambulances to carry runners to the hospital. Medical staff say the weather caused markedly more emergency medical situations both after and during the race. Doctors saying they treated around 120 runners.
It's a much harder year than last year. It's hot, it's humid, and we've already had quite a few people come in with very high temperatures. What we try to do is get them in an ice bath and identify when they're high temperatures, but ice them. I've had several that have gone to the hospital already because heat-related injury, heat-related stress, and the race is not over.
Around 10 marathon participants were actually transported to area hospitals on Sunday. Race organizers took precautions early on in the morning when the course was red flagged, meaning signs were posted at every water stop warning runners to stay hydrated.
The marathon had 22 water stations along the 26.2-mile course. Though we heard reports of some water stations early on going dry, race organizers say they were able to get water to all areas of the course quickly.
We've got 3 trucks out on the course right now, and they're constantly replenishing. They're picking up from water stops that have closed and bringing them to the later ones on the course.
But with race registration around a third higher than it was the previous year, the demand for water at times outpaced the supply.
There was some water stops, a couple where there wasn't any left by the time I got there because I'm really slow. So a couple of them had no water left.
One of the stations ran out of cups. I think that was about the only issue. Had to drink it out of my hand.
Organizers also believe the spike in the thermometer after a week of cooler temperatures may have caught many runners off guard. And they hope today's race serves as a reminder to both first-time and experienced runners, always check the forecast before you take your marks.
You can actually damage cells in the body, brain cells, kidney cells if you're too hot. If you're over 107, 8 degrees, that can be fatal, and it can cause shutdown of many organ systems.
Jen Markham, Our News.
We're doing the training at a school today.
They're going to have their handguns out.
But this could be a church, could be a supermarket, could be a movie theater.
You may hear louder things than regular firearms.
Places where persons could come in, take others hostage, cause injury to persons.
We're going to have you draw your handguns, lock the slides to the rear, keep them pointed down at the ground. So go ahead, draw out.
The Finger Lakes Law Enforcement Academy has taken the lead in preparing first responders from across the region for worst-case scenarios.
When you get up there, you're gonna sidestep.
Training started the year after Columbine.
When you hear gunshots, you're gonna want to speed up that much more.
The first thing I learned is these things happen all over the country all the time. So we try to take away the denial factor where it's not going to happen here. We know it's going to happen again. We're just not sure where it's going to happen. Slow down a little bit.
Using analysis of past active shooter mass casualty situations.
All right, next thing we do, what do we do when we come to a corner?
Members of the Ontario County SWAT team trained law enforcement, fire, and EMS to work as a team.
No organization would be able to handle a situation of a magnitude like that by themselves.
After a lecture and drills, students helped trainers simulate active shooter scenarios.
Stop the threat. You don't retreat. You're as aggressive as you can. If somebody's shooting at you in the hallway, you don't want you running behind cover.
You're a shooter here. Which way? Straight? Straight?
Yep.
Phelps Clifton Springs Superintendent Mike Ford watched from the sidelines, formulating an action plan of his own.
You're just awestruck by it. Simultaneously, you're just scared to death when you watch it and you see your buildings filled with smoke, you're hearing gunfire going off and thinking this could really happen, and it has happened in some places.
Police! Drop it! Drop it! Drop it! Hands up!
After locating and taking down the shooter, teams debriefed with trainers who believe this will help when tragedy hits home.
We respond better, we're all on the same page, hopefully less people are getting killed, and those people that are hurt are being treated medically a lot quicker.
Bottom line is you're just grateful to these men and women that are here, that will be here to save our kids in need of emergency.
Leah George, YNN.
We have a handgun and a rifle that's being donated tonight, and we're going to cut those up. So this is a part of the Beating Gun Tour. We're going across the country, asking local folks in every place to share their stories of gun violence. We started almost 40 days ago, right at the beginning of Lent. Outside here, we're turning a gun into a garden tool. We take sections of that barrel and we make a tool out of it by heating it up in the forge using kind of traditional blacksmith methods. We make a hoe on one side and a fork on the other. We call it a mattock. We like to say that we go from semi-automatic to mattock. The idea came from the scriptures where it talks about beating our swords into plowshares and training for war no more. We don't have many swords today, but we do have over 300 million guns, so more guns than people in the United States. When we move from swords to plowshares, we move from a place of this illusion of instant gratification towards seasonal patience, from standing your ground to sowing your ground. Most places we're donating them to different people that's here. We're making these tools to be used. We want them to be dirty so we can literally grow food instead of take life. So it's definitely a transition and transformation from death into life. A part of the program, we have everybody gather around the anvil, and we ask folks who have been affected by gun violence to take a turn hammering on the gun barrel and helping us make a tool out of it. It's very emotional for all of us too, and the community is gathered around them, and so really it's just all about providing a space of safety and support for folks who have gone through that trauma. It's an honor to be able to be a part of that process for them. To do this 37 times, it's amazing to me that every single night the emotion is heavy, it's also hopeful. We shall overcome. Gun violence speaks from so many different places and intersects with so many different issues that it's really a complex piece, and it's going to take a lot of hard work for us to address together. Every town has its own story, and it's worth telling and it's worth listening to.
And now for our Churchville Chi-Li Saints, number 15, Christian Collins.
This is not your average basketball game.
Saints on three, ready, 1, 2, 3, Saints!
As the Churchville, Chi-Li, and Holly High Schools take to the court.
Let's get this party started.
I have been involved in athletics for the past 35 years of my teaching career, and this by far and away is the most profound experience.
Boom! A profound experience for not only Churchville Chi-Li Unified Basketball's Youth Activation Coordinator Mary Pat Dewey, but for everyone involved.
We try to do everything we can to change the culture and the atmosphere of our school to one of respect, dignity, and inclusion for all.
Unified Basketball partners athletes with intellectual disabilities with athletes who don't for an experience that enriches the lives of all of the students. And it has its own cheering squad, the Youth Activation Committee, or YAC, which works behind the scenes to rally the troops and spread the message of inclusion.
It's a life-changing experience.
YAC kind of helps get everyone involved.
Junior Hannah Mance has been a part of YAC since she was a freshman, prompted by her oldest brother who has autism.
It makes me so happy because I know from like a personal standpoint from where my brother was that a lot of kids kind of judge other kids with disabilities, and to see that it doesn't matter here anymore because of what this atmosphere has become and what we've turned it into.
Hannah is teamed with student Jenna Creighton.
Here she goes, Jenna Creighton with the ball.
Making new friends is Jenna's favorite part about participating.
Boom!
And making baskets.
2-point bucket by number 2, Jenna Creighton.
Unified has changed everything for me. It helped me find my career, what I want to do, how to be with people. It's really been a huge experience for me.
Senior Ashley Baer has played a major role in coordinating events during the school year for YAC.
The changes that I've seen is people coming out of their shell. You know, you think one of these kids is so shy, but really they're the most energetic person on the team, and when they make that basket, when they make a new friend, it's a huge milestone, and it really helps them in the classroom, in real world experiences. It's just amazing.
The motto of respect, inclusion, and friendship is printed on the t-shirts the team wears. There's no I in team, it says, but you and I are unified. Wendy Wright, Spectrum News.